How was the Oval Office yesterday?
Well, I think you heard the young man in there. You got to show up, right?
Okay. Did he make
you want
feel,
results? You got to show up. So
Did he make
I'm
you feel
showing up
comfortable?
for Michigan.
Did he make you feel comfortable?
You know, I did not know. They walked me in. I thought I was going into our private meeting, and of course it was that press conference. But I did have the opportunity to chat with the president, as you heard him say, some great things about Selfridge, about protecting the Great Lakes, and I also, the primary purpose was to talk about the ice storm and the recovery that is ongoing and the need for federal resources.
Did you get the chance to talk to the president about tariffs and the impact on Michigan and get that message
Every
across?
time I have the opportunity, I take it, of course, and I was in D.C., gave a speech about tariffs in the morning. The coverage was wild. Some people said I endorsed all the Trump tariffs. Some said I lambasted him, and actually I said tariffs are a blunt tool. You don't use them to hammer the American economy, use it to level, and I think that's why we got to have a real strategy around manufacturing. I'm glad he changed his policy with regard to the reciprocal tariffs, but nonetheless we still have very concerning manufacturing tariffs that Michigan feels harder than anyone else.
Able to convey that message to President Trump, though, at all?
Of course, yes.
But it seems like right now all we've bought is a little more time. I mean, obviously these are.
Yep.
How do you elaborate on what's going to be a day-to-day of ups and downs? Different people look at it economically.
You know, it's terrible policy. You know, in the speech that I gave yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, but it certainly, you know, encourage you to take a look at the text or the video. It is, you know, we've got to be really precise. We've got to be strategic and thinking long term. We have an opportunity to build up manufacturing in this country, and that's what President Biden was working on. That's what President Trump says he wants to do. The constant fluctuation with regard to global tariff policy creates paralysis. Business isn't going to invest for decades, hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, if the policy changes every day. But from what I'm most concerned about is the average individual who's lost so much money, who's at risk of losing their job because of, you know, business decisions to cut their workforce so that they can survive. It's individuals who are going to get left behind, who have lost so much in the stock market, you know, if they were lucky enough to have a 401k or some retirement. So, you know, this constant flux hurts people and hurts the Michigan economy, and that's part of my message. So the about face, I think, was a positive thing, but it doesn't fix the problem that we're still confronting.
Governor, you talked about some of the positives that you saw come out of yesterday. You were also there as the president signed an executive memo that said Chris Krebs falsely and baselessly denied that the 2020 election was rigged. Do you have any regrets about anything that happened yesterday?
I put out a statement right as soon as I got out of the Oval Office that
It said you didn't know he was going to sign that.
And my presence was not an endorsement of any of the actions he took or the comments that were made. I wanted to be very clear about that. I was going in for a meeting and they walked me into a press conference. And I sat there thinking about the people in northern Michigan who still don't have power, Craig. I thought about Michigan businesses that are paying a price because of the tariff fluctuations. I thought about Selfridge Air Base, which we need to get recapitalized. And he said that yesterday. I've been trying to get that done the whole time I'm governor. That was the farthest we've gotten in terms of a public commitment, and it's groundbreaking for Macomb County, for Southeast Michigan, for our aero defense sector that we're building so much. So it was not where I wanted to be or planned to be or would have liked to have been. I disagreed with a lot of the stuff that was said and the actions that were taken, but I stayed in the room because I needed to make the case for Michigan, and that's my job.
All right, folks, we'll wrap there. I appreciate you coming out.
All right, thanks everybody. Have a good one. Yeah.
Appreciate it.